Hey everyone, this is Sam from PrismScroll here to go over the patch notes for the update coming up tomorrow or today-ish. So this will cover things that were worked on yesterday. So this is kind of a progress update of what happened yesterday, but also just kind of everything that's changed. First things in no particular priority order. Basically, actually, it's the last thing I did versus the farthest away thing I did, but push notifications will now have an action when you press them. So basically, if you get a notification saying there's a new update, new patch, and you press it, it will give you an option to open up the App Store and go to the app page so you can update manually. You can always, wait for it to update automatically, but usually it takes a little bit less time. So if you want to get it right away, then you can do that. So that's just a little bit of a helper thing. There was a bug where bards and half-elves, so any class or race or anything or whatever that got to pick from any skill, it was causing the app to crash when you tried to copy other, start from other in the custom creator. So one of our users found that and we fixed that. Probably one of the bigger things with this update is quick rolling is back. So quick rolling for weapons and spell damage. So that's really nice, and it's going to give you a lot of flexibility because then you can add in, ability modifiers, flat numbers. It's also going to calculate critical damage if you crit and stuff like that. So that's going to be really useful. So basically the next step in that is, refining and making sure everything's calculating correctly, and then saving those. So basically migrating over from the old saved interface, because it's sort of limited. This is a little bit more flexible because you have a lot more options to pick from, and also you have like multipliers of things. So in the old interface you could only select one like charisma modifier or whatever per roll, and this one's going to give you X number, so it's just a lot more flexibility. This is just a lot better interface, and I think it's a little bit cleaner. It's not as fancy and page turny if you know about the old saved roll, but it has everything right in front of you. And I think the critical damage calculation is the thing that I like the most, because you always forget, so doubling the damage and things like that. With that, to hit, like I said, is there, and you can add when you roll weapon damage, it's going to automatically add the crit item. So to hit is now an option, so you can roll that along with your damage. To do that, there was an issue where when you tried to add a item, so let's say you had a ability check and then you added dice. So there's two groups, there's two different colors. If you removed the to hit and then tried to add something, it wasn't working. So just a weird organization thing. So that was fixed. Custom features, we're going to continue rolling these out. Speed and saving throws are the new two special effects that you can add. So saving throws, there's options, there's a flat bonus to it and things like that. So saving throws is now something, and then speed, flat, a new base value. So let's say it's 40 flying speed, or a rocker, I think it's 40 or 50 flying speed. So that can be encapsulated in a feature now. Maybe even at a particular level and things like that. Or you can have a bonus, so it adds on top of a base value. So that is now an option. The speed, or like the movement alert that has all the 6 different types, now has a reset button. So let's say if we move a little bit farther, there's a bug where the movement values weren't transferring over. So the speed was transferring, but like the flight and the other constants weren't transferring. So if you press the reset button that's been added to that, it will recalculate all of your values again. So it will add them in if they're missing and stuff like that. So like, for example, Arakra, the like the flight wasn't transferring, it was just being empty when you created your character. Now if you press the reset button and if you create your character now, because it's being tracked, but if you've already made it a Rockcore character, you can press the reset button to get that value recalculated. Something kind of interesting and continued effort is removing a lot of extra redundant files. So like I was reusing, or like I had two of the same icon in the project, so that that end like times 50 or 60, I mean that's a lot of extra space and megabytes that you guys don't need on your phones. It's useless space. So gonna continue trying to remove all those extra files. So that's I think what should be transferred to you in terms of savings is like 10 or 20 megabytes, which was pretty good. I think we were at 117 or something like that on first install. So bringing that down by like 10 to 20 is pretty solid. 10% or 8%, whatever. Let's see. So when you're using the paper, so basically the whole thing for this patch has been transferring over the paper sheet to the new kind of caching method, so that features are pre-calculated, so that it doesn't take forever to because there's so many more calculations that get run now. So the paper sheet wasn't transferred over, and this patch is what's transferring that over. So some things that were extra added to this were when you pressed on the class, race, or background text fields inside of the paper sheet, it brought up an alert and kind of gave you details about it. So we're switching that over to cards now, just to be more consistent. So if you press on that, it's going to bring up let's say if you bring up the classes, it's going to bring up all your classes, and then you can select whichever card you want to get or look at for more details. So that has been changed. Something useful for me, because I play an Eldritch Knight and it was annoying me, and I'm sure everybody else was annoyed by this. So the spell tables are now, if you make a custom one, or it's not a standard or a custom spell table, is now available from the spell page and the digital sheet. So for example, it's mainly Arcane Trickster and Eldritch Knight is where it suffered the most, because there was no table, and like you put all the information in, but you can never see it, and so that was really annoying for me. So that has been fixed. You can see that now, and you can also see it in the in a table form in the custom creator details if you press on the spells block in the list of attributes for it. All right, so here is another thing that's kind of interesting and I like. So basically, when you edit a text box, this is probably just a better thing to show. I like this. This is kind of cool for consistency and moving forward. So you see at the top, the first edition is you can see what you're editing at all times now. So you'll see there at the top, it's just the title. It's just the title, but you can see it all the time now because the keyboard usually blocks it. So now if you're running through them all, you sometimes forget, and it's just like it's sort of a hassle. It's something you won't notice, but you'll notice it when it bothers you, sort of things. So fix that. You also see in the bottom left, there's the two arrows. So you can now move pages after you finish rather than swiping if you want to do that. And if there are things that are editable, so let's say there was a page, the next page was another text box. Think the spells where you have, range, duration, all in order. It will start editing the next one. So like you can continue, editing without, disturbance. Let's see if there's I don't think there's a good example here. Yeah. There's not a good example in the character creation, but that will be nice. So let's move back here. So that was an addition that I thought was interesting. I liked that one. Fixed an issue with slippery mind feature, I think for rogues. The level was incorrect, so I'm always kind of trying to make the hard-coded information a little bit more easy to work with, especially now that we're switching over the features to, calculate more things. So sometimes this is why you'd think, why in the world is something that's been right all the time all of a sudden wrong? It's because I'm kind of playing with it in the back, and then it's kind of hard to make sure everything's still right because I don't use test-driven development. Smack. But oh well. Magic items. The card is going to look a little bit different when you open it. When you open the card, it will now show the details of the weapon and armor if that is the base type. So basically, if you have a +2 short sword or whatever, it's going to show the light and finesse property details in the magic item card when it didn't appear before, so it was kind of annoying and you couldn't see it. Okay, and then the last thing, which was suggested by someone that left a review, and hopefully you see this and then you change your review to 5 stars. So basically, if you are subtracting hit points from your current and you have temporary hit points, it will subtract from the temporary hit point pool first. So let's say you have 6 temporary hit points, so it's kind of like a shield, 6 temporary hit points, and then you have 50 current hit points, and you subtract 3 from your current hit points. It will take 3 from your temporary hit points because you have them. So like it only hit the shield basically. And then if let's say you're at 50 and you have 6 temporary and you got hit for a 10 and you subtract that from current, it will take your 6 and then it will only hit you for 4 in your current. So I thought that was a good suggestion. So that's been added to the digital and the paper sheet. The standard paper sheet, so that was a good quality of life change that we added. So all right, this should be out hopefully end of day today or tomorrow sometime. As far as going forward, I think, let's see where we're at here. I think so. Just the main goal is trying to get custom features, everything being calculated and tracking things. I think the next ones on the chopping block are, as you can see here, armor class and charges. So basically things that have charges would be like rages, based on your some ability modifier score, and then tracking those things in features. So basically, if you think about old features where it had the little dots and then you could press them. So that will be the first time we change the interface for selections or working with that. And then armor class, obviously, so adding a flat excuse me, a flat bonus, or I don't think that's right. So those I think will be the 2 next ones. But that is where I think we are currently. And then maybe because I think probably the one that everyone's most looking for is the feature groups, which would be your fighting styles, Eldritch invocations and things like that. That one's going to be a big one. So maybe I'll do that one. It's a big one and it's an important one, really. That's where the money is. But if you're making that one work. So all right, so that's where we are. Thanks for watching. Kind of a longer video today, but maybe I'll just do a sort of a longer video for patch notes, walkthrough, but a little bit longer than the normal progress video. So be back tomorrow. I'll see you later. We might have, since it's Friday, I was thinking about doing something a little bit different, maybe a little bit off, my weekend projects. So I think I might try to play with something and be a surprise for tomorrow. Only people that get to the end of the video will know that there's going to be something interesting. But all right, thanks for watching.